In this video, we're going to go through how we use the laser cut strategy within Vectric Spark. This will allow you to create output to both mark and cut through materials using an add-on laser diode head kit for a standard CNC milling machine and for some standalone laser engravers. So to demonstrate this, I've already set up a simple example file and we'll get straight into it by going over to the laser cut form. So to enter into this, we need to just click on the expand button on the right hand side and this will open up the Toolpaths pane. We're already in the Create Toolpaths tab under which we can find our Toolpath strategies listed. So the laser cut strategy is the second laser strategy along next to the laser picture toolpath. So we'll just single left click to enter into the form. And just working through the form, we'll see at the top we've got the familiar object selection. So when we've selected objects in our workspace, this will show the number that we've got selected, so that's a really handy visual. Next in the form, we've got the laser tool selection. So we'll just take a bit of time going through this. First of all, we've got the select button, and this will open into the main tool database. So if we just do this, we'll see the familiar tool database form, and you'll notice that the tools list has been constrained to only laser tools. So that's because only laser tools are available to use in the laser strategy. And this just makes things nice and concise, so you haven't got to search through all your other unsuitable tools. But if you wanted to, you could use the Show All Tools button. And you'll see I've got my laser tools already set up here for the example. So these are just default settings that I'm going to use for demonstration purposes. It's really important for you to go through and to tweak settings, run test cuts to find out the appropriate settings for your particular setup and the materials you're using, because it will change depending on the reaction of the laser to certain materials. So first of all, we've got a simple 3.8 watt laser cutter setup, and you'll notice that in the notes I've listed this as our picture laser cutter. So these three examples are duplicates of the same tool, but I've altered the settings for different situations. So if I just click through, I've got picture, then I've got mark, and again just enter this into the notes field, so that's a really handy place to remind yourself what these settings are for. And then we've got the cut. So if you're cutting completely through, I'm going to want to use all of that laser power, so I've got my power setting at 100%. For the marking, I only want to burn the surface of the material, so I've got 30%. And for the laser picture, we've got that at 25%. So to find out how that's used, please do watch our related laser picture toolpath guide, which is available in the related videos to this one. To start with though, for these examples, we're going to be using the mark settings. So this is our 30% power setting, and we'll just work through the form. So as mentioned, we've got the notes field where we can enter reminders, useful pointers, which will assist us. So tool numbers, the application of the tool. And just above this, we've got the tool name. So the naming convention here is the type of tool. Then we've got the laser power, and then in brackets we've got the laser curve. Coming down then, we've got the tool type selection. So this is the drop down when you create the tool from which you'd select the tool type you're setting it up from. So this is just left static to show us that it's a laser cutter. Then under this section of the form, we move into the geometry. So these are the immovable facts about the laser tool. And these are settings which won't change dependent on the situation or the material. So first off, we've got the units that we'd like to set the tool to. And then we've got the maximum power. So in here, you would enter the rated power setting provided by the manufacturer of the hardware. Underneath this, we've got the cutting parameters. So the first one is the pass depth. Now, the pass depth is a setting which will allow you to keep the focal point of the laser at a consistent distance. So after removing the first layer of material, if you're cutting through, it will move down in Z to make sure that the amount of material removed is offset and it's always kept at the focal point of the laser. So again, this is just another reason to run a lot of test cuts just to find out exactly how much material your laser will burn, and that will change per material. Coming down to the next part of the form, we've got the cutting parameters. So we'll just go through what these do. So next we've got the curve. So this is the width of the material that's going to be removed by the laser when it's at the focal point over the material. And this is going to change per hardware. So this is going to be different per tool and will need to be measured accurately So just run a simple test cut and then measure that burn result, and then we can enter the accurate curve in this form. The number of repeats. So this is a setting which will allow us to effectively repeat the operation a set number of times. So if you find that at a given setting, power setting that is, you're ending up with a really light laser burn and you're having to rerun things to darken things up, but increasing the power would lead to issues with burning where the tool's dwelling, then we can use this to essentially repeat the operation. And again, this doesn't move down. It's not a number of passes, so it won't move down in Z. Underneath this, we've got the feeds and speeds. So first up, we've already covered this, but this is the power setting. So the percentage of the maximum power we've got available to output using that laser tool. And this is just directed by the result that we want. So if we want to cut through, we're going to need higher power. Because we're only marking here, we're going to use 30% because I've run tests and I know that that's safe and appropriate for the material that I'm using. Next is the feed units. So these are the units that we're going to be using to list our feeds and speeds. And we've got all the same units that we see within the standard milling tools. The move speed is essentially the feed rate. So this is going to be the speed at which the machine travels from A to B. And you are, again, going to need to go through and see what's safe and appropriate for your setup. So you can enter into a situation where if the move speed's too low, then it dwells in one place for too long at a given power setting and it can end up scorching. So in that case, you'd increase the move speed. And if you're just not getting the adequate burn and it needs longer over a given area of material to mark, then we can decrease move speed. The maximum burn rate is used for the preview only, so this does not output into the toolpath in any way. So this is just available for when you're previewing your laser tool, because the kerf of a laser is so fine, it can be quite difficult to see in the preview and the laser burn can be quite faint. So we can increase the maximum burn rate just to darken that up for preview only. And then underneath this, we've got the familiar tool number, which we have for all of our tools in the database. And typically this would need to be a unique tool number. Okay, so that covers the tool settings and what we're looking at. We've got our mark settings selected for our 3.8 watt laser cutter, and we can select this and move on to the next section of the form. So we'll just quickly mention though the edit button, and this can just be used to change the settings for the saved tool, but only for this toolpath. So if we change any of these parameters, it's just to make iterative edits to different toolpaths, and it won't change them in the saved tool data in your tool database. So we could increase the power to 40% here, for example, apply that, go back into look at the tool, and it's still set at 30. So that's just a really handy way of quickly going through and changing things up for your tests. Underneath this, you'll see that from the tool settings, our power, move speed, cut depth, number of passes, and number of repeats have been pulled through. So this is another area where you can, on the fly, change the power settings. And again, it will just apply to this toolpath. But it's just a really powerful tool for pre-populating from the saved tool settings so that you don't have to go through and set these for each individual laser cut toolpath that you're doing. If you're using the same material for two different jobs, for example, you can load that up, it'll open in the last used, and you can be sure that that's going to run correctly and you're going to see the expected result. So that's the tool settings covered, and we've already got ours selected, so we can move on to the next section of the form, which is about the strategy. And this is just where, in relation to the vector path, we would like the laser curve to be. So the first option is cut outside / right, and the reason that it's outside or right is because it depends whether your toolpath in a closed vector shape or an open vector shape. So for a closed vector shape like this one, it would be outside, so on the outer boundary. Right for a open vector shape would be as if you're standing on the start point and you're looking down it towards the end, so it'd be the right hand side from your perspective. So we'll just apply that strategy first and have a look what that looks like. And we'll just switch on the vector view. And it doesn't look like anything's happened there, but it's because the laser curve is so fine that we can still see it right next to the vector path if we zoom in. And you can see there that the path is the blue line, so it's outside right. So we'll just go back in and we'll have a look at the other option, which is inside left. And this will do the exact opposite. So if we click calculate, on a closed vector shape, that will mean that the inside of the boundary is being toolpathed. And lastly, we've got on. So exactly where we see the vector path is exactly where the center line of that laser jet is going to be pointed. And there we go. I'll just switch off this layer and I'll very quickly just draw 2 circles. Just so that I've got an external and an internal. I'll just toolpath these and we'll select one of the inside-outside options. So I'll go outside in this case. And watch what happens when we click calculate. If we zoom in, we'll see that, as expected, the external boundary has been toolpathed to the outside, to the right-hand side. But we have a look at the inside, it's actually been toolpathed on the other side. And that's because the software is very cleverly detecting that you require this to be an internal cutout. So in order to retain the dimensions of the vector line, it's toolpathing the other side so that the waste material is in the centre. For a more in-depth walkthrough on the inner workings behind these cutout type toolpaths, please watch our cut along toolpath guide available in the related videos to this one. Last of all, there's just one thing to look at in the form, and that's the allowance offset. So as well as being able to set whereabouts in relation to the vector line you'd like to cut, you can also add an additional amount from this point. And this is always in the direction of placement compared to the vector line. So for cut outside, if you add a positive allowance offset, it will offset further out, essentially leading to a larger part. And for cut inside, it will offset further inwards if you use a positive amount. So if we just try this now, we'll just put in 0.2. We've got the same vector selected, and we'll just call this offset. And in doing that, now the vector line is much further away from the cut path, so we can see clearly what's happening. And as described, the offset from the outside boundary is further to the right, and the offset from the internal boundary is further to the left with a positive allowance. You can invert this by using a negative allowance. So now the path is inside the external boundary and outside the internal boundary. If you select cut on though, because this is only ever for tracing the vector path exactly, there's no ability to add an allowance. So that pretty much covers the form in its entirety, and with it our laser cut toolpath guide. So thanks very much for watching, and I hope you found the video helpful.